Hello everybody, jimmyispromo here, back again with another awesome video. And if at any point in time in this video you guys like what you see, make sure you guys hit on that like button, as well as don't forget to hit on that subscribe and hit on that bell for notifications so you get notified of any future videos. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about some amazing cases that you'd be able to use to protect your Samsung Galaxy S9 and the S9 Plus. Now, all the different cases that we're going to be talking about today is going to be coming from Incipio. So Incipio was kind enough to send me a box full of pretty much the entire lineup of all the cases you'd be able to choose from to protect your Galaxy S9 and the S9 Plus. Now, the purpose of this video is to let you guys know my first impressions of exactly what do I think about all the different cases you'd be able to choose from, how do they feel, how do they look, how's the functionality of all the different buttons, what is the price. And so what I will do is I'll flash the price of all these different cases right on the screen. I'll also write out the names of the different cases that I'm showing off at that moment in time to let you guys know exactly what you're looking at. And I will let you guys know that all the different cases inside this box is ranging from $20 all the way up to $40. So you're going to see 20, 25, 30, 35, as well as 40. So let's pop up to the overhead rig and let's get a little bit closer look of exactly what is inside of this box. All right, so let's get a look at inside of this box. Now, it looks right over here that there's going to be a couple different screen protectors that you'd be able to have. So this one right over here is going to be your normal tempered glass. This one is going to be a little bit more of a film. So these I will do a test on just a little bit later on. Now, a fast breakdown of what we have do have the NGP flexible impact resistant case. We'll also have the design series, and it looks like there's two different styles of the design series, both of these ones being clear. Here's another NGP advanced rugged polymer case. This one is going to be the Octane co-molded impact absorbing case. Here is one that is the Dual Pro dual layer protection, which means that there's going to be probably a hardened shell along with a little rubberized section of it. This one actually looks pretty interesting here. This is part of the Esquire series, and it looks like you'd be able to turn and rotate your device. And it's also pretty much acting also as a folio case. So it is a rotating folio case. So I'm pretty interested in that one. And then here is another one that is from the Esquire series. This is one of the cases that I've used already from Incipio on my Galaxy S9 Plus already. This one is a huge hit. I do love that case. This one looks like it's going to be the Reprieve Sport protective case with reinforced corners. Then here's another one that's part of the NGP series of that one, but this one is the translucent folio case. So first off, these two screen protectors right here is going to be a future video where I will be talking about their double tempered glass that's inside of here, along with their little self-healing screen protector film. So the first case that we're going to tackle today is going to be the NGP flexible impact resistant case. Now the drop rating is not too high on this one. It's only rated as a 3-foot drop. So this one's probably going to be more or less for comfort and fit and hold, not really for dropping. Now the main selling points is going to be the wraparound coverage. You have the slim fit design. There's a flexible polymer, and then the little scratch and tear resistant case. So the nice thing about having this little case here is it's something that's just minimal, something that is protecting your phone from getting any type of scratches if you're just kind of lay it on the ground and tables and everything else. So you're not going to be hurting the very back of the glass of your device. So let's open this up and see exactly what it feels like. Now this one is definitely going to be pretty flimsy. It does not feel cheap by any means. I definitely feel a lot of different rubber, a lot of different polymer that's on the inside of here. I kind of like the two-toned of this one, where you have the clear color up here, so you can see if you have like lilac purple, the coral blue, if you have midnight black, but you also get that smoky look on the very bottom. Now again, this is just a great way to see exactly what your device looks like on the back because you buy a certain color for a particular reason, but you have that little two-tone of that smoky on the bottom. So let's see exactly how this one fits on the inside of there. So on the front here, it doesn't look too bad. And then this is what it's going to look like on the back. So if you do have fingerprints on the phone to start off with, you might be able to see those. But you'd also be able to kind of clean your case as well too. But this one's polymer, so it's not going to really clean off as easily as the back of your case. So the way that it kind of feels and fits, it's actually not too bad. It doesn't feel cheap or anything. It feels pretty smooth. I can feel the Incipio name on the very corner on the very bottom, which is kind of nice. So going through the different button presses here, this one actually feels pretty good. I don't have to press it too hard. I don't have to press it too lightly. There's definitely a little bit of a click that kind of comes along with it. Some of them you just kind of press and there's really no clickage with it. This one kind of has a little bit of a click without having the sound to go with it. So this will definitely be a good option for anybody who wants to have something that you can still see the back color of your device. You have it kind of two-toned, something that's not too high of a drop, but you just want something that's comfortable in the hand. It is very slim. It does does not make the phone fat at all. And I'm looking at also the top and the bottom to see if it is protecting a little bit of the phone. So then this way, when you do put it down, the vulnerability of the glass is being covered by what is the lips on the top and bottom. Next up is still part of the NGP series. This is the translucent Folio case. The drop rating on this one was improved just a little bit more, so it's not 3 feet. This one is going to be 5 feet. So if you are a little bit more prone of dropping your phone, and you also want to have that little Folio case option, here's one of your options for you. Here is the main selling points, which there is a convenient card slot that can carry an ID or a credit card. It also has a slim fit design, so we're going to see exactly how slim that is. Here's the flexible polymer, so probably going to be flexible just like from before, and then also the stretch and tear resistant, so then this way it's not going to tear or break, especially along the seams where the Folio portion is. And then one thing I am liking about this packaging here so far is not only is it easy to open, but also on the very top right hand side they put a little emblem up here to let you guys know that this thing is going to be wireless charging compatible, which obviously most of these will be. There's not too many thick cases out there other than pretty much the OtterBox Defender series, and maybe even Defender will go through those as well, but it's really nice that they actually have that little emblem on the very top. Now checking this out, it definitely has a good little grip to it. It does not feel like it's going to slip or fall out of my hands. If I'm pretty much holding onto this thing, it's going to stay in my hand. There's a little bit of kind of rigidness on here. You can kind of hear the little scratching. So this is actually pretty nice so far here. You can see here why it's called a translucent, so because it is see-through. You do have that exact same, feel as before, and it's talking about how it should not tear or break or stretch right over here. So you should have something that is clear. It's gonna be translucent. You're gonna see now, the entire color of the phone that you get. So if you get that, coral blue or lilac purple, you'd be able to see what it kind of looks like in here. So this one's actually pretty decent. I've actually never seen a translucent case that went like this with the Folio, so you'd be able to place in your credit card. So this is really nice if you're a male or female. If you're going out to the bars, you don't want to carry your wallet with you, just kind of throw that credit card and ID inside of there, and you're going to be perfectly fine. The close of this one, there's nothing magnetic with it, so it's just going to kind of open if you are just kind of holding it like that, which is perfectly fine. But there is no extreme gap that kind of goes inside of there, which I have used some from before, that when you close it there's kind of a big gap, but this one actually feels pretty good. Now when you're thinking about pressing all the different buttons and everything, let's see, I can't see through the case, so that kind of stinks, but when you're going through everything here, going through all the different buttons, it does feel pretty good. I'm just not too huge of a fan of a Folio case, just because I have this extra, look at that, it kind of doubles the thickness of the device when it's just completely folded back. Also, if you're to open up the camera, it's being blocked by this, but this is really for anybody who wants it to kind of look just a little bit more professional, a little bit more businessy. Kind of close it, you'd be able to make it look pretty good. You have a 5-foot drop rating, but when you take a picture, you do have to hold your Folio open the whole entire time, but it's very nice and convenient if you just want to go out for a night and throw something inside of there, and then maybe when you come back home, you'd be able to throw on a different case to give it a little bit more protection and functionality of your camera and everything else. So here's the last case from the NGP series. This is the rugged polymer case. Now this one's probably gonna be that very flexible type, but maybe a little bit more grippage. This one does have a 5-foot drop rating, so at least it's not gonna be the 3-foot that we saw in the very first one. The main selling points is gonna be the rugged structure, the flexible polymer, along with the enhanced grip, the honeycomb interior, and it's still, again, the wireless charging compatible. Now taking this one out, I do wanna say that feeling this one, there is a little bit of a grippage, but it's definitely not rubbery. There's a little grip, but it's a little slick of a grip, if that makes sense. It does feel pretty good in the hand. I'd have to say that the other one has just a little bit better of a feel, just because of all these different dimples that's on the very back of it. This one feels just a little bit more cheap, but we're gonna see what it does feel like when it's on side of the phone. Now when you place this on the inside, it fits in there pretty well. It looks as if the top and the bottom is going to be doing a pretty good job here with making sure that it is protecting the screen, and it's not going to be vulnerable with all the different edges and everything else. So you do definitely still want to have a screen protector on this thing, but when you do put your phone down, at least it will be stopped with the top and the very bottom of the lips. Now the functionality of all the different buttons here, these definitely feel good. I'd have to say that all of these ones here, the NGP series, when it comes down over into the buttons, the clickage, how does it feel? It feels pretty good. It doesn't feel rubbery, it doesn't feel stiff. You definitely feel a small little click without having a clicking noise. So I'm pretty much digging this one. There's a little bit of grippage that's on the very bottom. I kind of like the feel of the rubber on the very bottom of this device. So you can see actually on the tops along with the very bottom, there's going to be a different type of rubber that is along the edges versus the back. I would almost kind of like some of this rubber along the edges to almost kind of be along the back as well, to give it just a little bit more premium of a feel. But this one is not bad at all if you're just looking for a nice case. It has the honeycomb on the inside. It has a little bit of a grippage to it. This one is going to be a pretty good option for you if you don't want to have something that is clear and translucent. So popping over to a new series, this one is from the Octane series. This is the co-molded impact absorbing case. This one has a little bit higher of a drop rating. This one's going to be at 6 feet. And then on the very back, the main selling points is going to be the dual infused material, translucent rigid shell, and then this was the enhanced grip. So this is that enhanced grip that I was talking about before on the outside of it. So it's not really talking about the back side of it. It's the grip along the edges, tops and bottoms that has that enhanced grip. And then the shock absorbing bumpers. Now I got to say, this one's going to be pretty nice. You can kind of see how it's got that little smoky look on the very back of it. I do like so far the feel of this one. This is definitely not going to be as flexible as the other ones. So this one just looks a little bit more structurally done. But now let's kind of go inside of there. Let's see how this thing feels. This one's just a little bit harder of a case. You can actually hear it kind of go inside of there, so it's not going to be that very flexible, polymer from before. Along the edges here, this is what it was kind of talking about with all the different ridges. You can actually hear myself scratching this thing right here. So that is going to be a little bit of the grippage that they're talking about. When you're going through the button press, it's definitely a good press. You don't have to press it hard. You don't have to press it soft. There's a couple different cases out there where it feels like I got to like really press on that button right there. But this one's actually very easy to press, but you do have a little clickage sound with it. So if you're extremely quiet and you're maybe in the classroom or something, when you click this one, maybe a few people are able to hear it. So the clickage sound is going to be there, but it looks just very nice on the very back. There's going to be maybe just a little bit of fingerprints that could go back there, but not going to be too many. The other ones, especially that black one that I just showed you right before this one, you will not see any fingerprints. So if fingerprints is an issue for you, you're gonna maybe see just a little bit with this one, but not with the other. This one's just all around a good little solid case. I feel like this one would be one that I would use on a daily basis. The other ones would maybe be possibly me using them, but this is getting into the very first case that I would actually use honestly on a day-to-day basis. Next up is the Reprieve Sport. This is the protective case with reinforced corners. Now this one you can see here has a huge drop rating of 12 feet. Now we're getting into it. Now this is probably going to be the one that I would be using on a day-to-day basis. So this one does have that wireless charging compatibility icon on the very top right hand side. This one has the reinforced shock absorbing corners, so you're going to see that there's going to be a little bit more of a lift in all of these 4 different corners. Scratch resistant coating, so in this way hopefully you might not be able to scratch your case, but even if you're not going to scratch your case because it's protecting your phone, you're also not scratching the very back of your device. Translucent shell, then here's the protective interior structure. So let's check this one out. This one seems to be very interesting, especially with it having the 12-foot drop. So this one might be one of those cases in the future that I will be doing a drop test with. Now this one I thought it was going to be a little different, but you know what? I guess this is exactly all you really need. So you can see here that you can definitely see the little exaggerated bumpers on the very corners here. So this one's going to definitely help out and kind of reinforce those little drops if it is to hit on the side. Now they're actually pretty rubbery. I can put my thumb or fingernail kind of getting inside of there. So this will definitely help when you were to drop this thing onto cement. Now you do have that little translucent look back here. It's definitely not that smoky color that we've seen from before. So you're gonna see just a little bit more of the realistic color that you have of your phone. Now placing this into the phone, it was just a little bit harder than before, but that's just probably because of it's just a little bit harder of a design. It's definitely not too flexible. And now looking at the very top and the bottom, the lips are not as high as I would want them to be. I would kind of wish the lips on the top and bottom would be just a little bit higher, but that's also because it wants to make sure that it is fitting in your pocket extremely well. Along with these exaggerated bumpers, if you have smaller pockets, then this might catch maybe a little bit of a lint or something like that. But so far this thing feels pretty solid. I do like the look and the feel of it. You are going to get a lot more fingerprints with this case than you would from before, but because of how this one is made, you're actually able to wipe this one off. So versus the other cases where you had little fingerprints, this one is much easier to wipe off. It almost feels like the back of the phone itself. So if you like the feel on the back of the phone, but just put a little bit, rubbery texture to it, little polymer texture to it, this is probably going to be the case for you. So far, out of all the cases, as I'm going through here, I might find one that I like a little bit better than the other, but as I go through it, this one is going to be so far the #1 leading case that I would use on my phone, just because of the 12-foot rating drop. Also here, this one's definitely some soft rubber. I've never really seen too many, soft rubber phones, so I know that this one will definitely protect your phone. The clickability and everything here is definitely perfect. You can definitely hear when you click it, so it's not quiet, but you know for a fact that it is definitely getting clicked. Now the next case is going to be the Dual Pro series, so this is the dual layer protection. Now this one does not have that 12-foot drop that we saw just right before this one, but this one is rated pretty good at 10 feet. Now on the back, the main selling points is going to be the 2 layers of defense. You do have the rigid outer shell, you have a soft touch finish, and then as well as the flexible inner bumper. So you're going to have a flexible inner one that's going to be a little bit more rubbery, but then you're going to have the hard shell on the outside. And then this one is still, rated for the wireless charging compatibility. Now the thing about dual layered or 2-pieced cases, personally I am not a huge fan of it, but let's see how this one does. So first off, taking this thing off, there's a lot of different grippage here. So with the type of rubber that's being used, I can feel that this thing will definitely not fall out of my hands. It's going to slide out of the pocket very well because it's not a sticky rubber or sticky polymer. So this one was actually just right in the middle there. So this thing is talking about how it is dual layered, and so here is going to be that little finish right over here, the harder back end shell, and then this one's going to be the inner portion of it. That's going to be almost kind of like that very first case that we saw at the very beginning. So one of the ways that you are able to place this in is just kind of put it into the soft portion first, and then you're able to place it into that little shell. Now it looks as if this one's going to hold in there pretty well. Usually when it comes down to cases that are 2 pieces, sometimes they kind of fall apart and separate from each other, and so this one actually does a very good job because of the way it's kind of cornering along the edges there, and it is not going to come apart. So this might actually be one of the first ones I would use that is a 2-pieced inner and outer shell case that I would actually use, just by being completely honest. Now pressing this one here, there is pretty much almost no sound with it, but it does definitely have that little button press there. So you know for a fact that when you click it, you feel that little click, but it's not loud, it's not hard to press. So far Incipio is doing an amazing job with their button, because I have used a couple cases before that when I press on this button, it either has to be hard or it feels as if I didn't really press it, but it's still kind of activated. Now this one does feel pretty good. It's not going to fall out of the hands. Again, the way that they use this polymer is that it's not something that is going to stick to your pocket, but it'll definitely stick to your hand. So now we're heading over into the design series. So both of these are probably going to feel the exact same way. They just wanted to show a couple different types of styles that you'd be able to have as prints on the very back. So let's look at the different selling points of this one, and you can see that this one is rated for the wireless charging. They did not write anything on here for the drop protection, because this is more for design. You're not really meant to kind of give this thing a little bit of a drop, but this one does have a blending style with protection. The design series classic case is composed of fashion-forward translucent cases with charming, colorful prints. Our specialty designed hybrid polymer formula guards your device from damage caused by accidental drops, while the scratch-resistant coating keeps your phone in pristine condition. So the great thing about this one is that maybe they're talking about the case where it's going to be scratch-resistant, but more than likely they're really talking about keeping your phone from being scratch-resistant, because even though it is clear, you can still definitely see the phone, but this right here is what's protecting the back of your device. Now, checking out these ones here, they do flex a little bit. They're not as easy to flex as the very first ones that we kind of saw and looked at, but let's kind of give a little bit of a look at what they look like. So the very front of it, it actually doesn't look too bad, and then this is what your phone is going to look like on the very back. So I chuckled a little bit, but it's just because I'm a guy, I'm a dude. I'm not too much into the hearts right here, but this one's going to definitely kind of go after any of the females that wanted to have a very back of the phone that looks like a heart. The nice thing that I like about it is that the name of Samsung that is printed right in the very center is not even being covered by any of these little icons or these little pictures on the very back. So they definitely looked at where's the placement of Samsung, and let's make sure we do not cover that name. So this one does feel very good. It has a very rubbery feel. The nice thing is that you're not going to see too many fingerprints on here, just because of how clear this case is. And I don't know, maybe it is scratch resistant. I'll have to test that in the future though. But this one actually doesn't look too bad. The feel looks really good. The button presses are very smooth. It kind of feels like more wholesome of a press, if that is even a thing. There's definitely no sound that comes out of it whatsoever, but the press of it actually is pretty nice. So putting it on and taking it off was one of those that you can definitely feel that this thing is definitely made of that nice rubberized polymer. Now this one would be the ones that would probably maybe possibly sit on your table and kind of hold a little bit. But again, I'll probably test that just a little bit later on. Let's see what it looks like with these bunny ears, of what it kind of looks like. So with this one, it looks like one of the bunny ears does cover where the word Samsung is, but you know what? That's not a huge deal. But the very first one over here definitely went into that detail of making sure don't cover up the name of Samsung. So this one doesn't actually look too bad. It almost looks as if maybe there's just little, I don't know, it doesn't even look like bunnies to me, to be honest. It just looks like little flares of something on the very back of the phone. So from a distance, this is gonna look pretty sick, even if you're a dude. But when you get up close and you see those little bunnies, and you know for a fact, it's not those little flares that you thought it was. Again, the button presses and everything else is looking pretty good. So this one's not too bad of a case. Definitely look at all the different designs that they have. Obviously, they gave me 2 different ones to show you that there is a couple different designs. So when you are looking at this type of a case, if you're a guy or girl, definitely check out the other different designs, just in case if you're not a big fan of the hearts or also the bunnies. All right, we're now getting down to the final 2 different cases we'd be able to check out, and I did save for last the Esquire series, just because these ones are definitely pretty cool. This one I have already used on my phone. There really is no drop rating with this one. I'd probably say maybe the 3 to 5 foot range, but I'm definitely not going to go up to that 7 or 10 foot range, or even the 12. It is definitely compatible with the wireless charging. So they mentioned here that they designed the Esquire series as an extension of your everyday wardrobe, the texture, the fabrics, the fades. These are just a few of the details that make all the difference. Handsome yet protective, Esquire series defend your phone from the accidental drops and scuffs while maintaining a slim frame that fits comfortably in your hand and pocket. So more than likely they're pushing this one to be a little bit more for the males, along with the designed ones could be for the females. Now this is the case that I have used from before. I've used this one for actually several days, probably about 4 different days, just putting it in and out of my pocket. You know, the feel of it is not too bad. It's definitely a harder shell, so you definitely don't want to bend this thing. A lot of times when you get a case that has a little bit of a bend to it, a little bit of a flexibility, that means that it's really good at the drop rating, just because it has more flexibility to kind of take the impact. So this one will definitely be closer to maybe that 3 to 5 foot. You can see here that they put in the little fine piece right here of Incipio written on the very bottom. The back of it does feel good. It actually almost feels like a pair of jeans. So if you want to know exactly what this feels like, just if you're wearing jeans right now, just kind of give it a little bit of a rub. That's exactly what this one right here feels like. It's a little bit harder of a shell, but when I was using it, it definitely felt good. Putting it in and out of the case was pretty tough. It is one of those harder shell cases, but once it's in there, your phone is looking pretty dapper. It's looking pretty good. So if you're a guy who's into fashion and style, you're definitely going to like this case right here. You know, pressing this button, it's actually very quiet. It works very functionally. It's not rubberized. It's just a button that you just press. You don't even think about it. And so this one actually does feel really good. The only thing I can see is that through the wear and tear of using this thing every single day, that probably after a couple different months, some of this fabric that is around the corner where it's kind of hemmed up or placed into the case, you might get a little bit of frays here and there. It might get a little worn down here and there by putting it in and out of your pockets, only really along the edges though. But you know what? When you're looking at something that kind of has a little bit of that faded, that clothing type of feel, then you're gonna probably definitely get that. Now for the very last case, I left the very interesting one for the very last one. This is still part of the Esquire series. This is the rotating Folio case. Now it looks as if you'd be able to put your phone inside of there and rotate this thing. I've actually never opened it or used it, put my phone in it, nothing. So this one's very interesting to me, so I'm gonna be pretty excited to try it out. So you can either have it going up there as vertical, or you can have it as horizontal. Now with it being a Folio case, obviously it looks like you're probably able to put a credit card or 2 in there, and this one is still good with that wireless charging. Ooh, this one definitely looks a little bit different, feels a little bit different. It's looking like some fabric again, but it's, I don't know, the fabric feels a little different. This one just feels like a car seat. So if you go inside your vehicle and you rub the seat of your car, if it is cloth, that's kind of what it feels like. I kind of like this thing because it looks as if there's almost no branding on it, other than on this little baby lip on the very top side right here. So when your phone is sitting like this, there is no brandage, there's no names, there's nothing that says Samsung, nothing that says Incipio really. The only time you can see it is right there. So I do actually kind of like that little effect right there. Now this one is going to be just a little bit bigger than the Folio case you saw from before. So that one's going to be, you know, maybe just a little bit more convenient if you really just want to go out really fast. This one might be the day-to-day traveler, the person who is using this thing all the time. Looks as if it's going to open a little bit, so then you'd be able to, you know, prop this thing up the right way. You have 2 different slots instead of 1 slot. And so let's kind of go inside of there. Let's see what it feels like. So this definitely actually feels pretty good. I've used a couple different Folio cases in the past that went like this, almost that tri-fold right here, where it was kind of folding in the very back of the phone. This actually looks pretty nice. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna try this one for a few days, definitely, because it looks really good. It's gonna protect the phone. This one might be a little bit more than the 3-foot drop. This one's probably looking closer to a 5 or 7 foot. My guess is a 5-foot drop on this one and not that 3-foot. So let's kind of try this little rotating portion. Ooh, that feels pretty nice. It's rotating towards the very bottom right here. But you know what, how does it lift up? How does this work? There we go. So I kind of moved the camera angle just a little bit. So instead of you laying it down face like that, you're going to have it sit and plop out like that. So your phone is going to sit on your credit card or ID. So this is actually pretty nice. This is actually right at the angle of actually where my head is at. And then when you place it and you go like that, this actually looks pretty good as well too. So with this little movement on the back of over here, that is what allows you to kick it out into the kickstand, so it'd be able to look like this. And then heading over into kind of the way it feels, when you're actually hitting all the different buttons, there is no case that is covering any of the volume rocker, or the Bixby button, or the power. So you're actually hitting the actual physical button of the phone. There is no case that is on the inside of there. So this one's gonna be the actual button itself. And I can kind of tell myself right here, I see myself, I'm already bending this forward a little bit. So it feels as if I'm gonna use my phone, I'm gonna use it kind of like with this right here. I guess I can kind of fold it back a little bit. You're making your phone get just a little bit more thick and fat when you do use these Folio cases. But you know what, maybe some people don't really care about that. They just want it to go for the look. Maybe you're really gonna hold the phone like this almost majority of the time. But my guess is I'm gonna probably fold this down. Here we go, we're getting the phone, we're using it, it's looking good. We close it down. So I mean, it doesn't look too bad. This actually looks pretty good. I'm gonna definitely probably use this for a couple different days here. But that was the whole entire lineup of all the different cases from Incipio that you'd be able to use with the Galaxy S9 and the S9 Plus. So I hope you guys have liked this video. I'm gonna let you guys know exactly right now which of these, you know, instantly is kind of my favorites. This one's probably gonna be in first place, is going to be the Reprieve Sport. This one is rated for that 12-foot drop. The way that this thing felt, the way that the bumpers are working, this will definitely probably be number 1 on my list. Number 2 is going to be probably a mixture of the Esquire series. I do like the way that this one feels here. It has the feel of what the pants, you know, feel like. This one's pretty nice if you're looking for somebody who's very businessy, who wants to have that inside of the credit card. So out of all the Folio cases we talked about, this one is my favorite Folio case. And actually, out of all the Folio cases I've ever owned and used and reviewed, this one is definitely my favorite out of every single Folio case. But in terms of a male, somebody who loves, you know, taking pictures, I don't want to kind of hold my phone like this and then worry about the flap, then it's going to be definitely this Esquire series. So if I want something that's a little bit more designed for me, you're going for fashion, it's going to be the Esquire series of the non-Folio. And then if you want to look at a different one that is still also for protection, the Dual Pro, the dual layer. This is the first time I've ran into something that was a dual layer on the inside of here that I was actually pretty much a little bit of a fan of. So yes, there is 2 different pieces to this, but they come apart pretty hard, which means that they're not going to just randomly come apart as you're using it. I see this one being very durable. I like the very last, you know, feel of it on the very back of it. It just looks like a good, clean looking phone. And then for third place, it's going to be the one that is rated for a 10-foot drop. This one is the dual layer protection. This is actually the very first phone, again, that is dual layer that I'm actually a fan of. These things come apart not easy. So when you're looking at something that is 2 pieces, they're going to be working together. They will be staying together. So when I took the phone out of the case, this little piece right here did not even come with the phone. It actually all stayed in there and locked in. But I just like the look and the feel of it. It's just a matte, you know, look on the very back of it. Nothing really too shiny. It's just a way to kind of give your phone a subtle look to it, but definitely have that little 10-foot drop protection. So this one's definitely come in third place. So if you were to look at me walking around town, more than likely I'll be having this one right here, which is the dual layer protection, or I'm going to be using this one over here, which is the 12-foot drop, the Reprieve Sport. And if I'm going to be going out and I'm painting the town red and I want to look all good, I'll probably be looking at one of these fashionable ones right here, which is going to be the Esquire series. So I hope that you guys have liked this video. Make sure you guys give this thing a huge thumbs up. Hopefully this has helped you guys out, kind of choose a different case you would want to use from Incipio. Make sure you guys give this thing a huge thumbs up, hit on that subscribe button right over here. You'll be able to subscribe that way. Share this video with your friends and family, and outside of that, I'll see you guys later.